Hi, welcome to Be Joyful 24/7. Today, we're going to talk about what jobs you need to do for March. So this is now, I think it's the 4th of March today, and early March is when things starting to get exciting in the garden. With March, you have to sort of like divide it into beginning of March and the end of March, because it makes such a big difference as to what you have to sow at the beginning of March and what you can sow at the end of March. So yeah, as I said, March beginning. So what can we sow? Now, the first and foremost thing that you should definitely consider sowing are peas. Now, peas are the perfect crop to be sown during March. Actually, to be perfectly honest, the last sort of like time you can sow peas is like about the beginning of April, and that's it. And there is a reason for it. If you sow peas later, you can get issues like mildew. And I actually did last year. Last year I left my peas really late. I didn't get a lot of pea pods. So yeah, if you are thinking about sowing peas, March is the time that you must sow. This year I have chosen two pea varieties. One is Pea Alderman and one is Pea Onward. Onward is an early cropping variety than Alderman. Alderman's sort of like an, I think they are like one of these old varieties. They grow quite tall, so they need staking and a bit of support. But these are the two that I'm going to sow. But don't worry about making a note of what varieties I'm going to, I'm talking about. I will add them in the description. By the way, if you're interested in this indoor potting table setter, I have added a video, what to sow in February. It's not the greatest video because it's shot in portrait, and I didn't realize even when I was editing. But it does have some really good content, so please go and check that out. And I have explained very clearly about this indoor potting table setup. So yeah, peas are the first and foremost one that you should be considering sowing in March. And then the other two things that you could sow are carrots. I'm going to be sowing the early Nantes. So with carrots, there are quite a few varieties. And Nantes are the early ones that you can sow quite in March, actually. But because they can be directly sown, I'm not going to sow now. I'm not going to sow at the beginning of March. I'm going to wait a few more weeks, and probably after the 15th of March or, like towards the last end of March, I might sow directly into the ground because I do, I have to be a bit more cautious because we are in the northwest of England, and obviously the weather can turn really bad. It's perfect, it's beautiful today, it's gorgeous sunshine, but please do not be fooled, because last year I made the mistake of sowing all my seeds really early, and we had heavy snow in, I think it was in April or May, and I lost so many seedlings to the snow. So I wouldn't rush into sowing them yet. But yes, carrots are another one that you can sow this month. And something else you can sow are spinach, spinach medania. Medania is the one that I'm going to sow now. Now, obviously, my videos are going to be quite very much into, I'm going to talk in depth about lots of Asian vegetables, obviously, Tamil vegetables and Indian vegetables that I'm going to be sowing. So I'm not going to be sowing them yet. As you may have noticed, you'll be like, oh, are you not starting your tomatoes? Are you not starting your chilies? Because you may have seen other people who would have, you would have seen a lot of videos on YouTube where people are sowing their chilies in January, all that. But you can sow tomatoes and chilies early if you have a greenhouse or a polytunnel. I don't have any of that. As you can see, even seed sowing has to be done indoors. Ours is such a tiny backyard space. I don't have any outdoor protection, so I'm not going to rush into sowing them at all. They're called frost-sensitive plants, so I'm going to wait towards really mid-April when I'm going to be thinking about sowing all those things. So yeah, the only thing I will be sowing this month would be my early carrots, my peas, spinach medania, And then the next thing you should be really considering is chitting your potatoes. Actually, I have left my chitting a little bit late. Ideally, I would like to plant my potatoes in my pots, sort of like the first week of March, especially my first earlies. But unfortunately, I didn't get my seed potatoes on time. So I just went shopping last week and got my seed potatoes. So yes, chitting is something that you should consider. And with with potatoes, by the way, all my videos are intended towards beginner people, people who are just starting out gardening and they're not quite sure. I'm not a professional, so it might sound like very patronizing, talking about, oh, in potatoes you have first early, second earlies, main crop. Now my videos, as myself, I am a beginner. I intend to make my content very much beginner friendly. So yes, do bear with me. So with potatoes, you do have first earlies, second earlies, and main crop. And they normally tell you on the package anyway. So if you are a beginner and you're not sure which ones are first earlies and second earlies, when you pick them up, seed potatoes, it tells you very clearly on the label, second early. So obviously that means sow second, that comes later on. And then main crop is the one that takes longer to grow. So ideally, your first earlies takes roughly about 8 to 10 weeks from planting to harvest. Your second earlies are roughly about 15 to 17 weeks. And then your main crop is the longest one. So the main crops, I tend to just plant them quite later in summer. And actually, I actually do still have 1 bucket of potatoes that of my main crop still, that I'm going to actually harvest them now. And I didn't even take them into the garage. I don't have a garage. Didn't even put them in a cellar or anything. It's been left outside. I was just checking it the other day, just, dug a little bit of a hole, and they're absolutely perfect. So I'm still eating my potatoes from last year. They keep really well. So yeah, those main crops and second earlies. Charlotte, which is a very popular variety, is actually a second early potato. So the first early I'm going to be chitting are Pentland, Javelin, and Rocket. These are your new potatoes, so tasty. They're perfect for salads, and obviously with Indian cooking, they're really, really great for potato puree and things like that. So yeah, so I'm going to be chitting my rocket potatoes and Pentland Javelin. So as I mentioned, potatoes needed to be chitted. What is chitting? What does that mean? Now, chitting is nothing but you are trying to encourage some healthy shoots before you can pot them on or plant them in the ground. Now, I am really pushed for space. I have a tiny, tiny back garden. By the way, there is going to be a gardening makeover video pretty soon on my channel. And I don't have a lot of space. So I like to grow all my potatoes in containers. Now, you can actually buy specific containers with handles online for potatoes. Just Google containers for potatoes and there's loads coming up. So I have loads of them and I plant all my potatoes in containers. So yeah, the first step to growing potatoes is chitting. Now, what is chitting? Now, these are the seed potatoes that I bought from supermarket. I got them from Range. So it was actually the same price as this one that I got from Wilko. And these are 2 kilograms. You get a lot more value for money. Unfortunately, when I went to Wilko, the only one they had was Charlotte, which are second earlies. I didn't have any first early potatoes left. I just went to Range and got them anyway, because I don't need a lot of them. So, and also, if your potatoes are quite big, you can chop them in half, because every little eye will produce healthy shoots. So if your seed potatoes are quite large, do not worry, nothing will happen to them. Chop them in half or even quarters and you can still chit them. Now, as tempting as this is, you might look at this and go, wow, my potatoes have already started. They are, they produce some shoots. I'm just going to plant them. No, these are not healthy and they will not produce a good healthy plant. As tempting as it is to just pot them on, you must take this out completely, and that's it. Now, I can now place this in an egg box. I actually save all my egg boxes for chitting process, and you leave them in these holes, and you don't have to put them on sunny windowsill or anything. As long as it's a nice, light room where you get plenty of light, it'll be fine in the corner on a dining table or somewhere. And that's where I'm going to leave mine. And then when they produce some healthy shoots, I'll show you how it looks. I'll actually do another video, an in-depth video on growing potatoes, how I'm potting them on in my containers and everything. So yeah, the next job for this month is chitting your early potatoes if you haven't done so. So the peas, because I'm growing them for pods, I am going to module sow. Module sowing is nothing but, putting more than one seed in one little cell tray like this. These are called module trays, and you just put more than one seed. If you want to know a little bit more about module sowing, I think I've explained it actually I've explained it quite clearly in my last video, in the February one, what to sow in February. I'm going to put 2 per module. If you are growing them for pea shoots, you can go up to 5 to 6. It should be absolutely fine. Pea shoots are so delicious in salad. I love pea shoots in salad. So yeah, but do bear in mind March, early April would be the last time for sowing peas. So if you're not going to do anything at all this month, if you want to sow one thing and you like peas, do go and sow that. Said, I have added another video where I have talked about what you can sow in February. Now, what if you're like, oh my goodness, I forgot, I haven't done it. I did not watch your video, or I didn't realize you could sow some seeds in February. Am I too late? Absolutely not. You are not late. To be perfectly honest, all the seeds that I have sown in February are more, or actually pretty much brassicas. So brassicas, or your Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, calabrese, all of those. So you are still not late, and you can definitely add them to your list. So if you are someone who has not started your seed sowing and you haven't done your February seed sowing, it's only early March. To be perfectly honest, I only sowed my February ones last week, like 10 days ago. So you are not late at all. So do add these seeds in your list. So what have I sown in February? You can go into my February sowing. I have actually added all of the varieties that I have sown in February. Add them to this list as well. So on top of all the seeds that we're sowing now, you can add those as well. So I've mentioned a few varieties of brassicas, and I've also sown my radish and beetroot. So yeah, those are the ones that I have sown in February, but you can go and check exactly what they are in my February month one and add them to your list, and that will be it for the beginning of March. Hopefully this was useful to you, and I would like to thank you for watching, and I will come again with another video, hopefully at the end of March, and I will show you what I'm doing at the end of March for the March videos. Thank you.